Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Chizme Talk Show with Jesse, Handsome Latino, Bubba, the Big Dog Morales, and Raquel, only on LA Talk Radio.
Well, hello, my beautiful gente from Los Angeles, and welcome to your Chizme Talk Show, your Latino internet hot news show that has hit the airwaves here in Los Angeles and nationwide. Pretty cool stuff, man, that they can hear us nationwide and here in Los Angeles. And thank you, like always, for taking the time out of your busy schedule and tuning in with us. And we know that the summer is here because, man, in some areas it has hit triple digits. And just a quick reminder from the Chizme team, stay cool, drink lots of water, and stay hydrated. That is something very important and healthy for your body. And also, I want to give a shout out to everybody that works out on the construction workers, city workers, roofers, my homies over at Caltrans, working hard on the 10 free right there in Rialto. I stopped by there and say hello to them. And also a Chizme happy birthday to everyone who is celebrating a birthday in July. And my good friend Dennis Uluberi, cumples años ahora. Many more to come, my friend. And be blessed and have a great day. Wow, man, it feels like Hollywood here in the studios tonight. And why not? Our guest tonight is our good friend, indie filmmaker, Mr. Kenneth Castillo, right over here. Woo!
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. And just in a few minutes, Kenneth is going to share his inspirational, warm, heartfelt story that will touch us all. So stand by for that. And we have a great Chizme program for you tonight, as always, on this Taco Tuesday. So relax, pull up a chair, and grab a cold one, your favorite champagne or vino, and chill with us, man, the Chizme team. And but first, before we get started with our guest, I want to introduce my good friend, Bubba, the Big Dog Morales. How are you, my friend?
Hello. What's going on, Jesse? How you doing?
I'm doing
What's
great.
up, all my people out there?
Woo-hoo.
How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's staying out of the heat. Everybody's cooling off. Get up in the AC. If not, get them in the pool. If not, just go outside and put the water hose on you. You know what we used to do.
The slides.
Yep. All right. Well, let me just get into this real quick. That we get on to anything else.
Awesome.
First off, I got to speak about the WWE and their Extreme Rules pay-per-view event this last Sunday. It was an action-packed show. I love how the tag team bouts got a better stage on the main show. Not on the pre-show anymore, as they've been previously booked over and over through time. The Usos and the Revival stole the show, at least in my eyes. Their match was a 5-star match, but I don't think there was anything below a 3.5-star match in the whole card. The only downside to the event was the IC title, the Intercontinental title, was being on the pre-show. But, man, that set up an outstanding show. It was a great card, especially with all the controversy going down. And I don't know if most of our viewers are into wrestling, but in the WWE, there's been a lot of controversy with Vince McMahon and all the power he has over everybody.
Yep.
But he finally gave up the power to other people to let him run the thing. And because he's more concentrated right now on his XFL. But he let Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff start implementing their own show and doing their things on there.
Wow.
It has a fresh outlook. It should be pulling in more people, more of those longtime fans. Get back out there and watch it. The shows have been a lot better. I think they're putting out a way better product than they have been. You know, they got tired of all the same old storylines and this and that. It's getting better again.
Awesome.
So maybe you guys should start watching it.
That's awesome.
I think that would be great. And latest news in NCAA football, the new rankings came out in just a week ago. A week from last week to this week, both local college teams are out of the top 25. UCLA and USC did not break the week 13 top 25. So I don't know what's going on at their
You
practice
got to review
camps.
that again. That's not right.
I don't know what's going on at their practice camps, but those guys didn't make it this week. They didn't even make it. But there's other teams there with a 8-4 record that are making it in, and even some teams that were a little below ranking. They're considered not going to be there, but they put them up there. Other big news in the NBA, latest transitions with Russell Westbrook being traded to Houston for CP3. Houston's hoping that the combo of Westbrook and Harden will be a little bit more of a push that they needed to get over the whole hump of the Warriors, which I doubt the Warriors are going to be that effective this year. But that's they need that little extra just to get there, just to get there. You know what I mean? So right now, especially with the surging West, the way it's looking with the Clippers and the Lakers, that's all Houston needed. I think that's gonna step it up for them. Other than that, we got the Dodgers. The Dodgers have continued their winning ways, coming back from the All-Star break on a 3-1 tear and just looking unstoppable.
Yeah.
Speaking of unstoppable, let's go a little bit southern with a surprising 4-game winning streak. The Angels have come back from the break so inspired. The first game back from the break, they dedicated to the fallen angel pitcher Tyler Skaggs. By the entire team was wearing his jersey. Everybody was wearing his jersey out there on the field. His mom threw out the first pitch, and that set the tone for the night, which led to a 13-0 no-hitter victory.
Yep.
It was just an inspirational night for the Skaggs family.
Amazing.
It was such a symbolic night. It was filled with a bunch of symbols. The first home run hit by Trout was a 454-yard home run. His number is number 45.
Jeez.
You know, the number 13 came up his birthday. It was a great night, and all the players were like, you know, he's with us.
Yeah. He
was there with us, and that's just, you know, it's just inspirational that the team could rally around him.
Yeah.
And I think rallying since then, they continue to win. I don't know if they won today, but they were 4 in a row. You know,
see, that tells you the state of mind of these athletes, man, how prepared they are for these situations and how professional they are when they take the field. I mean, I'm sure, you know, Skaggs has been in their minds since, you know, he passed, and it's not an easy thing when you have a teammate that made an impact on their, you know, as a pitcher, and then you lose him, and wow, amazing. It
was beautiful. After the game, they put all their jerseys that they wore on top of the mound. It was, man, I was awesome. Crying when I saw the view.
I saw that.
Man,
yes, I did.
That was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sounds great, man. But other than that, I had a great week. This weekend, I'm looking forward to going camping, going to Silverwood with my family.
Yes.
Your sister was supposed to go, but, you know, she you know,
yeah,
she ranked out. You know, she's not going. So that's a big shout out to Jeanette. Thank you for not going, Jeanette. My ice chest won't be full with salsa this time from you throwing salsa in there. You know, but yeah, we're gonna go camping. That. It's gonna be a good time. Can't wait.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah. No. And then we'll get to those later.
Okay.
That's it. If we have time. I want to get to this guy right here.
Yeah.
We gotta get to this guy right
here.
here.
Get to Kenneth right now in just a minute. So
thank you.
You guys are leaving when? Friday?
Yeah, we're leaving. Yeah, we're leaving Friday. We're leaving Friday, going to Silverwood.
Nice.
I like that place. It's pretty nice. I've been up there a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went up there with my football team, we did a champ camp. Right. We were at Lincoln High School.
Nice.
Where we take the boys up there and we have them do like a Lord of the Flies thing, and we give them tarps and rope, and they build your own shelter and survive out there. You know, we're out there, and it builds leadership.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome.
That place is nice.
That's nice, man. That's really cool. But before we get into our segment, I do have a few announcements, and I posted them on my Facebook page last night. You know, I'm looking forward to, bringing on next week, hopefully, to the Chizme program, an inspirational story, that we do from people from all walks of life. Like we do have our guest here, Kenneth Castillo, who's going to share an outstanding story of inspirational and a message of hope and of love, because I know that he has a lot of installed in his heart and he wants to talk about it, and that's awesome. And that would be Dr. Francisco Contreras, who's the CEO of the Oasis Hope Hospital in Tijuana, California. Dr. Contreras took over the hospital in 1963 when his dad passed away, and he's a doctor that treats patients that have cancer. And what he's going to talk about is this unique way of treating his patients before they go into surgery. So next week, we're going to have him. He's going to be calling us from Tijuana directly here to the studio, and he is going to share a beautiful story with us all. And I want to thank Elizabeth Anzaldo from Los Angeles. She brought this to my attention, and I wanted to bring this to you guys, our audience here in Los Angeles. Free City Church at 1449 West Adams Boulevard in Los Angeles, California, 90007, is going to be having a backpack giveaway. They're going to give away brand new backpacks, notebooks, and check this out, free haircuts. Whoever needs haircuts,
Right?
Bubba.
I love
All right?
that. Hey,
No charge.
I just got one.
You missed out, buddy. Crayons, pencils, and also they're going to have free food. Elizabeth also mentioned they're going to have a jumper for the little kids there at this event. This event is taking part, and it's going to be taking part this Saturday, July 21st, from 10 o'clock on until all the backpacks are gone. The way that you redeem for your backpack is you go to the church, you get a voucher, and they will give it to you, and you just redeem it for your brand new backpack, and they're gonna fill it up with goodies and notebooks and crayons, pencils, and all kinds of good stuff for your for the fall when you go back to school. So it is a family event. It's a free event. For more information, Elizabeth gave me the church number. It's area code 323-522-5781. That number again is 323-522-5781. And I want to thank Elizabeth for all of her work and all the volunteers that will be there for this great event for our community. And for anybody that's in that area or around or wherever you live, this is a free event. You can live 50 miles, 100 miles from there. They will take you in. They will give you a voucher, and your kiddos will get a backpack. So make sure to check that out, and hopefully you'll get yourself and your kids a free backpack. What an awesome thing this church is doing.
Really
huh?
That's going to help out a lot of
Really
those
cool.
families. A lot of
Awesome.
families need those
Yes.
back to school supplies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To
Yeah.
just show up and get that. It's
Get that.
amazing.
Get a
Such
free haircut, free food.
Haircut for kids.
Everything,
go.
man. There you go.
Especially in this heat. Cut all their long hair out. All of them.
So at this time, my dear friends, I would like to introduce our in-studio guest, good friend of mine that I've known for a couple years, great guy, indie filmmaker, Mr. Kenneth Castillo, CEO of Cien Fuego Productions. And all of us here at the Chizme Show, Kenneth, want to welcome you and thank you for accepting the invitation to be on the show tonight and taking some time out of your busy schedule. Welcome, my friend.
No, thank you so much. I just want to say, wow,
thank you,
wow,
sir.
I even got some applause there.
course,
Nice.
of
Got the crowd
course.
going crazy.
Well, let me just first say congratulations to you guys for it takes a lot of work to do something like this, and so congratulations, and I'm honored to be here.
Oh, thank you. I know I called you or I texted you last week and you said, let me check with if I'm open, and you right away said yes, and I thank you for that, my dear friend.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So how's your summer going?
Summer's going good. I'm just doing a lot of writing right now and spending time with the family. I'm one of those parents I actually enjoy my summertime with my kids, and I'm the parent that gets kind of bummed out when they go back to school because I'm like, what do I do now?
I have no one to play with.
I have no one to play with, no one to go to the beach with. And so so I've been balancing that. Did a couple of trips and took the wife to Paris and.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
took the kids on vacation to Vegas since we didn't take them to Paris. We took them to Little Paris in Vegas.
Hey, it works, right?
It works out.
It works
yeah.
out. It works
I
out.
try to keep everyone happy. So.
Right,
you go.
right. Hey, man, I was looking at your resume.
Mhm.
My goodness gracious, my dear friend, you have an incredible resume of films, and we're gonna get right into that.
Sure.
And and then at the end, we'd like for you to say some encouraging words for those that are interested in filmmaking and what the process is. But
Absolutely.
man, right off the bat, what's your history? Let us know a little bit about
Oh,
Kenneth
wow.
Castillo.
Well, I grew up in Wilmington, which is the heart of the harbor. It's the port of
Alright.
Los Angeles.
Hey,
yeah.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is the heart of the harbor,
Wilmington.
for better or for worse. Weemos, if you're from there. That's where I grew up, and I decided that I wanted to be an actor. At the time, I wanted to be an actor, and I went to an acting academy at LA City College called the Los Angeles Theater Academy.
All right.
And I was there. It was a 3-year program, and I realized after that program, and I had gotten out and started producing, that I wasn't a very good actor. So
It's not for me. I don't know.
right, I was exactly. And let me see. I just got a call that the volume is not up, and let me fix this. so people
Okay.
can hear real quick.
No worries.
So
No
sorry.
worries.
This
No,
is-
no, no. No worries. No worries.
There we go.
No worries.
All right. So then is that better? Hopefully you guys can hear me out there in Facebook land. But yeah. So so I went to. I realized I wasn't a very good actor, but I started writing my own plays because we couldn't afford the royalties. I started directing them just because I knew I could depend on myself to get them made and directed and cast and everything.
Mhm.
And so I ended up being I ended up taking a bunch of one acts that I'd written and decided that I was going to make a film. This is like back in the late 90s. This is like 98, 99,
Mhm.
and digital technology was just starting to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I couldn't afford to shoot it on film. So I started looking at this digital technology, and I spent about 2 years just trying to figure that out. And my wife, my then girlfriend, well, now wife, got married in June of 2000, and then I was gonna say in that. So that was
Mhm.
June 2000. September, I took our last $4,000 and bought a digital camera. So
Oh, wow.
we started
Wow.
our life with no money in the
No
bank.
money in the bank.
Oh, she must love you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So she and we're still together after 19 years.
Like, I invested that 4,000.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess,
Oh, yeah.
That's what it
all the
was,
way,
man. That's
all
what
the
it
way.
was.
And I've done 7 films since then. So I mean, those are the cliff notes. I have a book coming out in October. It's my
Jeez.
journey, getting 7 feature films made and
Mhm.
half of over a dozen short films, and mostly done it on my own without any type of representation or help
Right.
from Hollywood
Right.
or anything like that. So
I was just gonna get into that, about Hollywood. I put on a little thing there, a little title said, talk about not giving up.
right,
And you have been through ups and downs, and
a lot.
What
Yeah.
what's going on with Hollywood, man? What's going on? Okay, why? I know you put a lot of that stuff out there about the Latinos and they don't get opportunities and so forth.
Yeah.
Why is that, my dear
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just not looking for us. They're not looking for they say that a lot. Okay, well, we don't have any writers, directors, but here's the issue,
Mhm.
and this is what a lot of the diversity programs don't address. This is what a lot of these conferences, and there's a ton of networking, Latino networking things. They all trying to help us all get into Hollywood, right? But here's the problem: the agencies run Hollywood. They're the ones that run Hollywood. They're the ones that submit things to the studios and submit people and projects to the studios and to the networks. So every time there's a Latin Hollywood wants a call for a boycott of the studios and networks, I'm like, you're boycotting the wrong people. Who
Mhm.
you should be boycotting and drawing attention to are the agencies that don't represent a 7-time Latino filmmaker who's gotten 7 films distributed, And so it really says something about Hollywood as someone like myself with as much experience as I have can't even get an agent. I can't even get them to look at my stuff. So it can be discouraging, but for me, the bottom line is I don't consider myself the multi-hyphenate, right? I just call myself a storyteller. And so whatever I have to do to get my stories told is what I'm going to do. And I've always just kind of tried to have faith that I would meet that right person that would get me to that next level. But right now, it's an interesting thing going on because there is this call for diversity, but that's on the surface. There are a lot of people. I'm just one. I'm just one filmmaker. There are a lot of Latino filmmakers that have made multiple projects over the years that have been going at it as long as I have, if not longer, and aren't getting opportunities. And then, someone who's just starting out is what they call a diversity hire, and maybe they don't have the experience. They're given an opportunity, and because it's their first opportunity to do anything, it's not very good, it's not successful. And then Hollywood goes, see, we gave a Latino an opportunity and it didn't work out.
It's because their lack of experience, and they're just giving it to them like, hey, okay, well, here you go.
Look, I don't know any Caucasian filmmakers that have 7 films and aren't repped in this town. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Or aren't at least directing television. And that's really been my focus over the last 3 years is getting into television.
Yeah.
And I read your that you when you first began, you and your is it you and your Carla and yourself founded Valor Productions.
That was our first production company.
Really?
Yeah, that was when we did our first film, and we did a series. We did our first feature film, which was called Who's James Cagney. I don't even have it on my IMDb, but that was basically my film school. and I got some really great people in that. Actually, I should mention his name. I haven't talked to him in a while, but Benito Martinez, who was in The Shield, he played Captain Acevedo in The Shield. He's in that movie.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he was someone I used to tour children's theater with, and he had booked The Shield when I was shooting that, and he came in and he played a doctor for me for my film, and he knew me, and he came in, and another dear friend of mine, East Carlo, who's a working actor, he came in. You know, a lot of really great people supported me very early on at that process, even when I didn't know what I was doing. You know, so
nice.
but the film didn't go anywhere. I was learning, and I didn't, you know, but
They were. I'm pretty sure they were glad to get the experience too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I think they were being supportive. There weren't at that time many Latinos that were doing a feature film, you know, particularly not a digital film. So except for Robert Rodriguez, but they yeah, so that was that project, and then the Misadventures of Cholo Chaplin, which
I saw that. Yes, I saw those are really cool. I
that
like
was
those.
that was our short films that we did, and those did okay, and but those got me my first official feature that I didn't have to finance
I
myself.
saw some of the scenes you did
wow.
it right there at the bridge, right there by the river.
Which one? Oh yeah,
Yeah, right?
absolutely, yeah. No, we've done.
Because you always look for nice locations here in LA.
I just always rep LA, man. Like
Yeah.
all my stuff is most of my stuff. Well, all my stuff takes place in LA, but I would say 80% of it has also been shot in LA. You know,
Yeah.
I've shot some things in Mexico as well. You know, because the dollar goes a lot further there, and you get a permit to shoot in Mexico, which the producers I was working with at the time could. You can do anything, man. You can shut down a busy street like that. You know, it's like. The police show up and they're like, "What's going on here?" And there, I'm an American filmmaker. I'm not a Latino filmmaker. I'm an American filmmaker.
okay.
Yeah. And my producers will, you know, the police will come to shut us down in Mexico. And my producer's like, "No, this is an American filmmaker. He's making a movie." They're like, "Oh, how can we help?" We're like, "Block all this traffic."
Trying to get in the film,
Yeah.
just walking in.
Yeah, they're like, "We'll put you in the film, and I'll shoot some stuff that I know I'm not going to use." Yeah, like I'll shoot stuff that I know I'm not going to use. Of the police doing their thing, and they'll take pictures and do their thing. But yeah,
Did they ask for money just to block for them to be there?
No, look, man, you put a camera in front of people, they turn into little kids. I worked with a lot of ex-gang members in Mexico, and I'll never forget this one time. I had about 30 of them as extras from rival gangs that couldn't even come back into the United States. These were my extras, and I was shooting a wide shot. And I was, back far with the camera, and they had to come out with like they all had like guns, like
their own guns.
Hopefully not, but yeah, I was like, make sure you check all the guns, make sure they're prop guns.
Right.
But they just had to make the movements like they were shooting, but they didn't make the sound. We're gonna add all that later, right?
Yeah.
So they all come out, and I'm looking at them. I hear this sound, and I'm like, what is that? And I look over at my sound engineer, and he's laughing. And I go, what is that? What am I hearing? And he goes, they're making the sounds of the guns. They're going. So I go, okay, how do I tell these guys?
Right.
Not, so I go, cut. I go up to them. I say, listen, that was great, guys. They're like little kids, right? They're all looking at me like, yeah, it was good. I go, it was great, man. I go, we're gonna do it again, but don't make the sound effects. Just make the motion that the gun would make, but don't make the sound effects, because I'm hearing it. Like, oh, okay, no problem, Mr. Director, no problem. We got it. And then like the leader, like the leader of them's like getting mad at all of them. Like, you guys messed up the shot. Now we got, you're messing up the director's shot. They were great, man. They loved me down there.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! I gotta ask you this. I know you directed Danny Trejo, man. How was it? How was it directing and working with him in the Counterpunch? Was it
Counterpunch?
Counterpunch.
Yeah, I
Share a
worked.
little bit about that.
That entire experience was quite an experience. But when we had written the script, me and Alvaro Orlando, he's the actor he was the co-writer on it, and it's based on his life. We wrote that part for Danny, thinking there's not a chance in hell we would get him, So I was like, let's just write it for him, and I go, because I knew Danny had done this type of, he had never done this type of part, but he'd done this in real life. He was a counselor to at-risk youth. So I said, maybe we'll appeal to that side of him. He's always getting the part where he kills everybody. In fact, the distributor, our first distributor, was literally asked us, how many people does Danny kill in your movie? And we said, he doesn't kill anybody, but he helps people. And he's like, we're not interested.
Oh my gosh.
But when Danny showed up to set, he was so open and so gracious, and just an incredible presence. To me, he's an icon, and It's one thing to be a director to work with actors and stuff, but when you're working with people you grew up watching, like one of my first earliest influences was Heat, and he was in that Michael Mann film. I got to see them shoot that scene live.
Wow.
The bank shootout scene. I got to see them shoot that live. So now here I am on my set with Danny Trejo in it, and he was great. We did a lot of improv. We shot everything in sequence. We only had him for a couple of days, and we were only supposed to have him for a certain amount of hours. But he loved the wardrobe we had for him. So we said, "Look, man, Dan, can you hang out for a while, and we'll give you all the wardrobe that you want?" And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are great." And so we had like multiple locations, and it was too long.
Shot here in L.A.?
It was shot in Long Beach.
Oh, in Long Beach.
Long Beach was the setting was Miami, but that particular stuff we shot in Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
And once he stepped outside for about a minute. And then the whole freaking neighborhood came out, and
they
recognized
recognized
him.
him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And come on, how could you not recognize
and,
that?
he's totally recognized anywhere he goes in the world.
Yeah.
And so he'll sign autographs. He'll take pictures with people.
Very
He's
humble.
the most
yeah.
down to earth dude that you'll ever meet. And it's interesting because his presence, on film is so great. But we wanted him to be more of who that was
His
in
inspirational
the thing.
side.
Yeah, and
Not kill everybody and see.
Oh yeah, and we
Mm.
did some great. I mean, he was even open to like improv. Like we improv the whole thing, and he had boxing. He was a champion at San Quentin's on their boxing team in San Quentin. He was a champion.
Wow.
So he was teaching. Excuse me. He was teaching Alvaro some boxing moves.
All
I
right.
think we got a call for you, my friend. You want to take it?
Go.
Oh yeah, sure. Who's
Okay.
calling in?
Let's see. Good evening. You're on the Chizme show. Handsome Latino. Who are we speaking to?
You're speaking to Johnny Munoz.
Johnny Munoz.
Johnny, how are you?
Doing good.
What's going on, Johnny?
I like to ask Kenneth a question.
Sure.
Awesome. Shoot it.
Yep.
Go for it, brother.
Go ahead.
What's your next projects, bro?
Johnny's got to be an actor. I'm hoping to get this TV pilot that I did on the LA riots. I'm really proud of it. And I'm really hoping to get it somewhere, So that's probably my next focus. I am shooting a featurette of a feature film. I've already shot half of it, which was that half was with Pepe Serna, who it was another Latino icon I've got to work with, another really incredible, just human being. And so that featurette, going to be shooting the second half of that in August. I'm hoping to have it done by September. And then, there's several things out there that I don't necessarily start talking about projects. When I'm looking for actors, I will absolutely post. I don't rely on casting directors. I will put it out there. Look, I'm doing this. If you want to come in and read. Because again, that's one of the walls in Hollywood. It's like, oh, you got to go through a casting director. But I've never trusted casting directors, even as an actor, and so I don't use them. In 7 feature films, I've never used a casting director. Wow. And so I've a lot of people I've worked with have gone on to other things. Like Carlos Pratt was in 3 of my films. He was the lead in McFarlane opposite Kevin Costner. David Castaneda Jr. is on Umbrella Academy on Netflix right now. He was in my first film. He plays Diego in Umbrella Academy. I've worked with Yvonne Cole in Counterpunch, who's from Jane the Virgin. So I've worked with a lot of people that I've just found doing my own homework. And so I never relied on agents. I never relied on casting directors to cast so anybody can really, if they're good and they come in the room and they kill it, I'm gonna cast them. I don't care I don't care who their agent is or what favors they're doing for a casting director.
That is awesome.
So, Mr. Munoz, that means you got to get on your game, sir, and be ready for these casting calls.
Absolutely.
I know Johnny. Johnny, I know Johnny from. I met Johnny through Anthony, right? Anthony Fernandez, another actor I worked with. He's on. It's Bruno.
Oh,
is that right,
okay,
Johnny?
okay.
You're that Johnny, right, Johnny?
Yeah, come on. The Kilroy. Kilroy comes out in 2020.
Oh, okay,
Johnny.
that's
Okay,
right.
got
All
Yeah,
right.
that guy Johnny. I know Johnny.
Thanks for calling in, Johnny.
Thank you. Spread the word, Johnny, of El Chisme Talk Show every Tuesday, my dear friend. We really appreciate the love and the support, and good luck to you, my friend. And thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
calling in. That really means a lot to
Hopefully
us.
we see you at that casting show. That
Absolutely,
casting,
yes.
Casting, I'm ready for the next show.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Any other questions for Ken?
yeah, man.
Any other questions, Johnny?
All right.
No?
No, man. Just, I like Kenneth Castillo's work, man. I'm very happy what he's doing, and I hope
Yes.
he get he keeps me more of his projects. I enjoy it.
Yep.
It's fantastic and everything.
He is.
Thank you
Awesome.
so
Great
much,
guy.
Johnny. That's awesome,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
You
Really
have
a good
appreciate
night.
it. I'll
Thank
see
you.
you at El Velorio, man.
All right, man. Kilroy, 2020, man.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Johnny. Have a nice evening.
All right, brothers. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. How awesome is that?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I was gonna ask. I'm not. I have no idea what's going on in the industry, but like with all these streamings, the Netflix, the Hulu's, the Amazon, all these streaming, companies
all
and
these
platforms, I think. Yeah. Is it well, apparently it's not easier, but I've heard it's supposed to be easier to get more stuff put out there because there's
Well-
so many networks, even on cable. There's so many networks trying to get a show and this and that.
It's a double-edged sword, right? When you have that kind of need for content for all these different things, that means that everyone's prices are going to go lower. So you're making less money. You know, I know actors now that are on 2 or 3 shows and they're not making a living. You know, so and they're on shows that are popular. So.
Wow.
So the thing is, there is more work, there is more opportunity, but that doesn't necessarily constitute to more money. You know, because they are all going to control that. But in terms of just getting your work out there, it's a lot easier, you know, because Amazon, I mean, if you've done a feature film, you want to get on Amazon, you just have to submit it to Amazon and get it on there. Now, that's not distribution, that's just a streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting onto Netflix, that's a whole nother thing. You know, 3 of my films have been on Netflix, and that's a whole nother process, you know. But to me, Netflix is the only thing keeping independent films alive. You know,
there's a lot of them on there.
yeah, and
a lot of
and
good
that's,
ones.
yeah, you find some good ones, and you just don't see them. Even if they have a star on it, they're not getting into the theaters.
Right.
You know, so in that sense, it's a good thing. There's a lot of opportunity, and what I like about it is the formats now have changed. Whereas network television, you had a 22-minute episode of a comedy or whatever. Now it doesn't matter. Like if you're on a streaming platform, like they'll have episodes. Let's say they have and it doesn't matter how many episodes. It could be 4 episodes. It could be 12. It could be 20. It doesn't matter. It's the amount of time that you have to tell the story, which I
Yeah.
think is really great. So like, you know, if I have a feature film that I think is 4 hours long, well, maybe I cut it to maybe I shoot it as a film for a 2-hour film, right?
Or a limited series and make it 8
Yeah,
episodes.
but you
or
could do
whatever,
both.
yeah.
Why you could do both? Why not submit it to get into a theater and
Mhm.
do a 2-hour film, and then you submit it as a 4 episodic television show that's 4 hours long. So to me, there's a lot more freedom for creativity and acceptance, but you still need to get them to look at your stuff, and you still need a representation or sales rep, and those people are hard to find because it really just comes down to what sells. It's not about how much heart you put into it. It's not about it's the story of your grandmother coming here. It's not about any of that. They're experts that will look at your film that you've spent 2 to 3 years on and go, I can't sell it. Sorry, Netflix is going to pass. And you just got to say, okay, I'm going to do my own thing and then move on to the next project.
And then you go on Netflix, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why is this on
You're
here?
like, and this sells?
This
It sells,
on
you
here?
know, it's
So
crazy.
even the experts are wrong sometimes.
Who's viewing this here?
Wow. If you just tuned in, you just tuned in to the Chizme show with Bubba Bear, the big dog.
The big dog. Who?
And the
Our
phone number
special
here to
guest.
call is 323-203-0815. And if you're just tuning in, our interview tonight is with Kenneth Castillo, indie filmmaker, CEO of Cienfuegos Productions. And we have the lines are open if you want to ask Ken a question, if you want to say hello to him, anything. The lines are open at 323-203-0815. And Ken, I gotta ask you something about the Cannes Festival. What film was that? I know you also won an Imagen Award for that, right? Share with us a little bit about that.
Which festival are you talking about?
The Cannes, and I guess it's in
Cannes
Oh,
Film
the
Festival.
Cannes Film
Cannes.
Festival.
Yes.
The Cannes Film Festival.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I did that was actually episode 5 from the Misadventures of Cholo Chaplin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
was I took probably the most political episode of it. It actually takes place in the Zoot Suit riots of the 40s.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
And this was during the Bush administration when when the Republicans were attacking illegal immigrants then, not to the extent of today. But so I did something on that, and it was basically Cholo Chaplin takes his daughter to the movies, and this riot happens outside. And it's a Latino guy that comes back from the Navy. And when he gets home, he's a proud Navy serviceman. He comes back and he puts on his zoot suit. He takes his girl out, and he ends up getting beat up and jumped by guys from his own ship
Oh,
that
wow.
don't recognize
Yeah.
him.
Wow.
So they strip him and they find his dog tags, and they realize who he is.
Wow.
But that got into the Cannes Film Festival. It was a short film corner, which I need the disclaimer: anybody who submits to the short film corner will get in. So they, but we got in, and we thought it would be a good way to go to the Cannes Film Festival and learn. And so we had some dear friends that we could only afford for me to go. So I was just going to go. And then we had some dear friends of us who are pretty well off, and decided, no, that's not right. We're gonna pay for my wife to go. And then my parents ended up giving us some money as well. And so we went, and that was an education. Going to the Cannes Film Festival, every filmmaker, if you get the opportunity, whether you have a film there or not, you should go, because you realize that movies are much bigger than just in Hollywood. Like, it is a world market, and this is 2007. And when I went there was a guy I met. Oh man, I can't even remember his name, but he was big into the independent scene. And he saw my stuff, and I had 5 episodes. He's like, you know what you need to do? You need to package this all like a DVD and sell it. He's like, this is a great idea. Just sell it. This was before YouTube was really big. He said, don't put it online. He's, I'll sell it. So I put all those episodes together, and I went to every Latino film festival that rejected them, and I started just passing them out at these festivals.
All right.
And I ended up getting the attention of a distributor at one of these festivals that was there to see other films, and
nice.
said, how can I distribute this?
Right.
And I said, well, this is only 30 minutes. It's 5-6 minute shorts. But I have a full-length feature. Actually, I have 3 of them, and that's how I got them all financed.
Wow.
Sweet.
Wow.
But the Imagen Award was interesting, because what I submitted that episode to the Imagen. My stuff's more raw, and it's not like, like a, how do I say? They're not as polished as, say, like my shorts at that time were not as polished as, say, someone who comes out of film school, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm doing everything on my own. And what I was noticing at the Imagens was the filmmakers that were winning in that category every year were film students who had submitted their thesis films. So I was up against, I was surprised just to get nominated.
Yeah.
And I was up against like 4 filmmakers whom I knew, and they were all film school graduates. And I'm like, to my wife, let's go, we'll have a good time, but there's no way I'm going to win. And then literally, like, they announced the winner, and the people in front of me stood up
Oh.
because they thought they were going to win. They were convinced they were going to win. I was convinced they were going to win, and I went, and I had my a glass of champagne in my hand, and my wife's like going, that's you, go up there. I go, wait, are you sure? She's like, and the guy's like, Kenneth Castillo, and I went, oh my gosh. So I went up and accepted my award. and after the year after that, again, it was a thesis film, but I had a lot of people that were in the selection committee come up to me. And actually, that you can find online on YouTube. I put them all on YouTube now.
You put them on YouTube now?
Yeah, if they Google Cholo Chaplin, they'll find all of them. And that episode is episode 5, A Day at the Theater. But very proud of that little piece. And then I revisited it, and my son wasn't even born when I started that. And when he was 10, which was about 3 years ago, I did 2 more episodes, and he played Cholo Chaplin.
Okay,
So,
right. Yeah.
so it still comes back. So yeah.
What keeps you going, Ken? What's in your passion and your
Oh,
love,
wow,
and
that's-
for not quitting? What is it? What's in you?
That's a tough question to answer, because I have wanted to quit several times. You
Mhm.
know, you have to really have there's a certain amount of loneliness that goes into what you do, and I'm sure you experience it in producing
yeah.
this show and producing your show in Pasadena, because there's a loneliness in realizing that if I stop right now, then it's over.
It's over.
It's over. There's no momentum. There's no one saying, hey, man, no, you need to show up today and do the show. It's like, no, if I don't show up today, nothing happens.
Exactly.
If I don't write out my script, nothing happens. But when I was, when I'm in those times, I guess the thing that kept me going was my wife, because she would just not, she never wavered in her support of me pursuing this impossible dream. Even when we lost our house in 2010, as a direct result of me banking on 2 projects that I thought were going to happen, that were financed when I started working on them, and then the financing dropped out by the time I finished the scripts. And at that time, I was bartending, but I wasn't bartending that much, because I was focused on getting these 2 projects. And the idea was, well, I get these 2 projects done, I'll be able to catch up. And it just fell through, and it was just it was a very tough time. Not even in our marriage, because when I had told her that look, we're gonna have to move. I lost the house.
Oh boy.
I was fully prepared for her to say, you know what, this is it for me. Me and the kids are gonna go move with my mom, and you can go do your filmmaking thing. But she just looked me in the face and said, home is wherever we're at. It doesn't matter. It's just a house. And so she's always been a constant, even when but I'll be there like on the couch writing my script, and as I'm writing my script, I get this rejection from someone somewhere, right? And I'm like, God, why am I even bothering anymore? And I'm like, I'm done. As I'm writing my
As you're
script,
writing your script.
and she's like, you always talk about quitting, but I'm a Gemini, so there's part of me that's like, I'm done, I'm over, I'm gonna quit, and this other part that just keeps going.
Keeps going. Yeah.
And luckily, that part has been stronger. But the thing that I've learned from anything, that it's always persistence that will supersede talent. And the one thing I've always had has been persistence.
Persistence.
Yeah, and just a resolve that, and plus you have to just want to be able to do it whether you're getting paid or not. The thing is, could I stop? I always said I'll stop when I run out of stories to tell, and I just haven't. So I'll just keep going. When you've done 7 films, not all of them were well received, but when you have that kind of behind you, you're like, okay, well, I've been criticized, but I've also been I've been praised. So I just need to keep going. That's it.
I've seen a lot of articles that they've written about you, interviews that you've posted on Facebook, and man, just people know who you are, and people,
Yeah,
they
Well, not
go out,
everybody's
they-
Meryl
they-
Streep, Not
No,
everybody,
absolutely.
not everybody's Meryl Streep out there. Not
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
gonna love everything you do.
And I'll
Exactly.
say this bold statement: I would put any one of my films up against El Mariachi any day of the week.
wait, the first one?
Yes.
Okay, the
Not
first one.
Desperado, Not
Desperado. I was gonna say
El
the-
Mariachi.
Mariachi.
Everyone talks. I'm sorry, I had to say it, but
I remember.
Yeah.
I didn't ditch school. I asked my parents if I could go with my friends to the movies. I was in summer school, so I didn't ditch. Just on the record, just so I can still say that I never ditched school. But yeah, we went during summer school. We went to go see the El Mariachi.
Right.
I was in junior high, and we went to see it. Back then we paid somebody. Hey,
Right,
can you buy
right.
your tickets?
Hey man, can you get our tickets? It's
Exactly.
rated R.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we saw that movie, and then when they did Desperado, we were like, we already saw that movie.
Exactly.
We just saw that a year
It's
ago.
about
What
Hollywood
is
said,
this?
okay, now we're gonna give you a budget. We're gonna do all this, and listen, I'm a big fan of Robert Rodriguez. I mean, I saw that movie as well, and that inspired me. But the way it inspired me was, I was like, we can do, if this guy can have a career off this, we can. But part of it has to do with timing, and the thing that I think served him really well was the timing he did. He made a feature film for $8,000 in Mexico,
Mhm.
and if you've shot in Mexico,
What?
you realize, yeah.
For 8,000, that's it.
Well, here's the thing: you can shoot a movie, yeah, but you can't finish it. He didn't edit it, get it edited and prepped, and that film, once it went to the theaters, which was a significant amount more than $8,000, but that was the story, right? That's the mystique of it. And but anyone who shot anything in Mexico knows that, yeah, you can shoot something for very cheap there. And he just had a contest actually where he did that. He got a bunch of filmmakers together, and I'm like, yeah, maybe you can do that, but who wants to? You know what I mean? I want to make a movie for, give me $100,000, which is not a lot of money, but that you can make a decent film for that.
Nice. And you're also the CEO of Cienfuegos Productions. That's your new company.
That is our newest company. We
Yes.
did.
When did that start?
That started in 2013. It was right after I had just severed a bunch of bad relationships and had to start from scratch. I basically said, this thing I created is rotting from the inside out, and I just need to step away from everything and start over. Because what was happening was I was working with a lot of actors a lot of my stuff is ensemble. Like, I try to have an ensemble of actors, and so some actors wanted to do their own stuff, and I had shown them how to make the magic for very little. So they decided to use connections that I provided for them and do their own movies, and which is totally fine. But you're taking my formula. If you're going to do that, then learn your own process. Don't take my process and my crew and my relationships and then try to do a carbon copy of that, because basically that's essentially what happened. I wouldn't have had a problem, that's one group. Other actors have gone off and they find their own thing and they try to make their own stories. And I'm totally, but I mean, I have to say, like, almost all of my lead actors went off to make their own films. And so, but as a filmmaker, you start to question your process. Is it that easy to copy and mimic? And so for when we did Cienfuegos Productions, our first production was completely unscripted. So I didn't have a script. I couldn't recreate that movie even if I wanted to, because it was very just on the cuff. I would have a scenario.
Oh, like bullet point ideas. Like, this is what we're gonna shoot. We're gonna do something like
absolutely,
this. Let's
and
go with it.
I had some very talented actors, and they had gave them very specific things in terms of who the characters they were playing. And so that turned into Marigold the Matador, which is a film that took me about 2 years to make because it was self-financed and still hasn't gotten distribution. But I'm focused on Netflix, and I'm in no hurry. You know what I mean? When it's time for that film to be on a platform, then it'll be there. You know, I'm not worried. I'm doing other stuff. But when you just do one film and you have that, you're like, I got to get it out there. I got to get out there. But me, I'm like, it's my 7th one. I'll just hold it over here. And, you know, I've applied to film festivals. We did screen it at the Idlewild Film Festival, which is one of my favorite places to just visit. But they were very supportive of that film, and we got an Indie Spirit Award for that. But I still have yet to make a LA premiere. We did submit to the Los Angeles Film Festival, that's the only film festival that I've been rejected 8 times with 7 feature films.
Wow.
8 times with 7 feature films.
And I tell this story to inspire people because that festival doesn't exist anymore. They went out of business last year.
Oh, wow.
But I'm still making stuff. You know what I mean? So a lot of film festivals that had rejected my work in the past aren't even around anymore.
Right.
Actually, and I'm still doing it, you know. So I always tell people, or filmmakers, don't put so much weight on any film festival. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that has nothing to do with your film, that why things get chosen. But LA Film Festival is a little more wounding because all of my films took place in LA.
Yeah.
And with Marigold, you know, they had rejected it on a Tuesday. And I was over it. I'm over rejection pretty fast. And Wednesday, I get this random text from the director of the film festival saying, "Is this a world premiere?" Not introducing who they were, nothing. It was just a random quote. "Is Marigold the Matador a world premiere?" And I wrote back, "Yes. Who is this?" And they're all, "Oh, it's so and so from the LA Film Festival. We know you got your rejection letter yesterday, but we're reconsidering it." And I'm like, well, why would you text me to reconsider? Why wouldn't you text me that we reconsidered and we're going to show it? So I said, okay.
That's random.
So this is the interesting thing. So then I texted him back. I said, okay, cool. When do you think I'll know by? And this person wrote back, you should know by Friday, but it's not looking good.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like,
what is the pause in? Yeah.
I'm like, are you just going to cut my heart open, throw some salt in there, and then sew it back up? Like,
Right.
And then Friday comes, and I get the second rejection letter.
Oh, my gosh. Sheesh.
So I love sharing that story because that
great
shows
story.
you the organization. And then, you know, in my writing group, there's a writer in my writing group who knows the festival and know that individual personally, and says, "Don't worry about it, man. That festival's not going to be around much longer. They're so unorganized." And she called it because 6 months after that, they were no more.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Which is
crazy.
too bad that Los Angeles doesn't have a film festival.
Oh, boy.
Like,
well,
come on.
our guest
That's
tonight is Kenneth Castillo, CEO of Cienfuegos, and he's just sharing a lot of love and passion for his work. And as you're hearing, you know, he's had some rejections, some ups and downs, but he's still here like a true champion, like a true Latino.
Right.
And with that smile on his face and still going. But if you have a question for Kenneth, you can call us at 323-203-0815. That is the number here to call and say hello to Kenneth.
I think I got the next one, and I got the next idea for you right here.
All right.
Right here.
What's your
Next
pitch?
idea.
What's your pitch?
I heard about this yesterday, and I was surprised to hear it. There's a story about meth gators,
Oh my gosh.
geese, ducks, meth gators, ducks, geese, squirrels, so on and so forth in Tennessee and Alabama.
Oh wow.
I
Well,
was like, what? And then
the problem with that is I'd have to go to Tennessee or Alabama to shoot, and I just not going to do it.
and then get gators too.
Yeah,
you hear about that?
exactly. Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I
Crazy.
did.
I heard
I
about
did,
that. I was
yeah.
like, are you serious? I was like,
Well,
that'd be a great movie.
That movie Crawl is out, and like, wow, they're probably thinking, man, we should have waited.
well, it's a
Should've
perfect
waited.
time for the meth
Yeah.
gators story to come out.
Wow.
But yeah,
Unbelievable.
the
Yeah.
meth gators. That'd be interesting.
So your kids are
hopped up.
taking they're also making films. I know your daughter just did something. Share about
my
that.
daughter.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 16.
16.
All right.
And she's gonna be 17 in 2 weeks, actually. And gosh, she's almost an adult. I feel old. All right. No, she she decided to write, produce, direct, shoot, and edit and score her own short film. And I didn't know much about it at all. She didn't reach out to me. She didn't ask for advice. She didn't even let me read the script.
Hmm.
She just needed a ride to here, right there, and which was pretty wild. She just came up to me one day and she was on her computer and she's like, "Papa, I'm gonna be doing this casting in Hollywood. Can you take me?" And I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean? What are you talking about? A casting in Hollywood? What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, I wrote a short film." I go, "This is for school?" She's like, "No, I wrote this short film and I want to do it and I have all the equipment from school and everything."
Wow.
And I said, "Okay." But so she looked up a casting office. She booked it. She put out a casting notice. She got all these actors to respond. She did seven drafts of her script. And I always, or someone says to me they're a writer, and I always will ask that, how many scripts have you written? If they say one, I go, "You're not a writer yet." I go, and then I say, "How many drafts have you done?" "Oh, it's perfect the way it is." "You're definitely not a writer yet." Because your writing doesn't start until after that first draft is you've done a second draft, and then you started another project. And for her, she did seven,
Wow.
and so she did this casting. I go, "Well, first of all, babe, you're gonna get a lot of crazy people that are just gonna submit to you, and I'm gonna be there." She's like, "You can be there, but I don't want you in the room, and I don't." She's like, "I have I have my camera guy and I have my reader. I'll be fine. I just want you outside to check them in."
Just
I'm
being a
like,
receptionist,
okay,
Dad.
so
Just be out
and
there
these
greeting people.
guys are coming in. They don't know I'm her dad, right? And I'm checking them in. Like, if you give me just any type of, I get any negative vibe from you, you're not going to be auditioning. But she cast her film and she scheduled it, and then she got her locations, and it was funny because day one, one of her people didn't show up, so she asked me to be slate. She asked me to do the slate and be her first assistant director. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, absolutely, babe." And it's just in me, I start taking over, so.
Taking over her project?
Yeah, so she literally takes me aside, like, says, "Papa, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yeah, babe, what's up?" And I'm all excited, right? She's doing her thing, and I go, "Yeah, what's up?" She's like, "Don't talk to my actors. Don't talk to my actors. Don't give them direction." She's like, "That is my job." She's like, "I just need you on the slate." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, no problem." And so that's what I did. And then day two, I didn't do anything. I was at the location, but I didn't do anything. She did everything on her own. She edited it. I didn't get to see it fully until she did, I don't know, her 10th cut of it,
Wow.
because she wouldn't let me read the script. And it was a beautiful, heartbreaking piece that she did in 7 minutes. And when people reach out to me, adults reach out to me and say, "How do you do what you do?" I go, "Well, look, I don't know, man." I go, I can only tell you my 16-year-old daughter did it. She didn't ask for permission. She just did it. The thing is fear. You know what I mean? You're doing something and maybe it's not going to be as good as you think. And normally your first thing out, it's not. But you got to be willing to do the crap and
Get
you have
out
to do the
there.
work. Yeah,
Get out
absolutely.
there. In these last minutes that we have,
Wow,
Ken,
it
do you
flew
have
by.
yeah, it's flown by. Do you have any last words for any filmmakers that are perhaps listening to us, or any type of advice for anybody that wants to get into filmmaking?
Yeah, I think, look, there's a million reasons. There's a million things against you. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't do it. Okay. But if you have one strong reason as to why you want to do this, that's really all you need. The technology is there for you. If you're a writer, write every day. If you are a director or filmmaker, then you should be shooting something every weekend or at least every month. It doesn't have to be great. You just have to start doing it. It's a craft. If you're building a deck, if you're just starting in carpentry and you build a deck, your first deck is probably going to suck. But as you do it more and more and more, it gets better and more elaborate, and you can try new things. And filmmaking is no different. I think people think it's like the lottery, like there's a lottery ticket. It's the long game, man. The biggest thing I could tell people is if you can't commit to the long game, then don't even bother. If you can't accept rejection, if you can't accept losing sometimes, then don't bother. It's just it'll take too much out of you. You have to have that toughness honestly, if this is what you want to do, it really doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Right.
It doesn't matter how good people think you are or aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I just know the thing that has motivated me has just been like There are a lot of people out there that have had less opportunity than me, who have less talent than me, and they're doing it. So it's just a matter. Timing is everything, and you don't get to control that, but you do get to control how much of the work you do, the kind of work you do, and but you just have to do it. It's that simple, and it's that hard.
Wow, what a great great message you gave us, and a great advice for everybody that's hearing. And Kenneth, we can't thank you enough, man. We could stay here all night and talk about your stories and your everything else, man. And gosh, we are so grateful that you came and gave us these beautiful stories about your passion and love for directing and writing and all these great answers that you gave us. So I want to thank you, my good friend, and wish you the best of luck and everything.
Yes,
Much
sir.
success for you and your wife and your daughter. She's just starting off.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
man, my hat goes off to you, my dear friend.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so
Thanks
much.
very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you,
Kenneth
sir.
Castillo, Cienfuegos.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we say good night until next week. I am your handsome Latino from the Chizme Show. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8 to 9.
The big dog loves you.
We love you. Good night.